Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, where today we'll be playing Scenario 5 of Multiman Publishing's Operation Mercury, the Invasion of Crete, which is part of their Grand Tactical series. This is my first entry into the Grand Tactical series. It's a pretty daunting series, just like every other one of Multiman Publishing's games, which it kind of makes you feel like, oh yeah, I got it. And then you're playing, you're moving pieces around, you feel like you're doing it, and then you go back to the rule book and you realize you've been playing one rule wrong that has one sentence on it buried in there, and then you just kind of feel dumb. But so far I think I've gotten pretty good hold of it. It's pretty intuitive. It takes a lot from the other series that they publish, and of course it's amazingly detailed, and there's plenty of scenarios to give a shot with a varying size. Like this one's just one map, but the scenarios go up to the entire invasion of Crete with 7 maps that are interlinked, and I can only imagine how long that would take. And if anybody's actually done that, I want to meet that person, because that just sounds insane. But yeah, this scenario is only, I think, just about 2 days, May 20th and 21st, with each turn taking about 2 hours, I think. So it's doable. The last time I played this, the Germans, they did their airdrop, and then they got in close to the airfield, their objective, and then it kind of fizzled out, or I fizzled out. I don't know which one it was. One of us fizzled out, and so it kind of just ended in a draw. But we'll see what happens this time, and yeah, so I'm excited to get you guys to see what this looks like. I can't promise, of course, that I'm going to get every single rule right, and hopefully I will at least not be goofing on any big rules, but if you see anything, let me know in the comments. Hopefully this is just a fun way for you guys to see a new game and maybe get you interested in buying it. And I do gotta say, there's a new edition of the Grand Tactical series waiting to get printed. It's the Utah Beach version with, 101st Airborne, landings around Carentan, and all that stuff, and it looks amazing. It's on Multiman Publishing's website. I'm in no way affiliated with them, not getting paid or anything by them, but definitely go check it out and order it, because it's in the pre-order stages where they need more people to buy it before they start printing it. And I think they're at like somewhere around like 517 out of 550 needed to start printing it. And I really want to see it, so y'all should go buy it too, so we can get it printed. Anyway, back to Operation Mercury. So like I said, this is May 20th to 21st, 1941. I'll go ahead and read the introduction to the scenario, and then I'll introduce you to all the players. Soon after dawn on May 20th, 1941, Luftwaffe aircraft struck the Maleme-Canea area. This was more than the daily harassment bombing. The objective was to silence AA batteries and to prevent the use of roads between Ceuta and Maleme. At Maleme, the attack was especially heavy. This was the prelude to the first wave of the airborne assault on Crete. The German Luftlandesturmregiment landed around the Maleme airfield with the mission to secure the airfield for follow-on air landing forces. The Fallschirmjäger Regiment 3 of the 7th Fliegerdivision landed south of Canea in the Aga prison valley with the mission to secure Galatas and, if possible, capture the port in Canea. The 2nd New Zealand Division bore the brunt of the initial attack, with the 5th New Zealand Brigade defending in the vicinity of Maleme, and the 4th and 10th New Zealand Brigades, with Greek allies, defending south of Canea. So yeah, this is the light khaki, I guess, the light brown counters are the 2nd New Zealand Division. And over here we have the 4th New Zealand Brigade, the 10th New Zealand Brigade, and then these blue striped units are the 5th New Zealand Brigade. Over here, these dark brown units are Cree Force, which is the British composite unit on the island. And these purple banded units, that's the Mobile Naval Base Defense Organization 1 of the Royal Marines, or the MNDBO, I believe. And then these infantry units with blue infantry designations are Greek units. So the MNDBO is led by Major General Weston. The 4th New Zealand Brigade is led by Brigadier General Inglis. The 10th New Zealand Brigade is led by Lieutenant Colonel Kippenberger. And the 5th New Zealand Brigade is led by Brigadier General Hargest. And so the 5th New Zealand Brigade has the task of defending the Maleme airfield, which is these 3 hexes here, which is going to be the Germans' primary objective. It's defended by a lot of AA guns and some heavy machine guns and a tank detachment from the 7th Royal Tank Regiment. And they also have an artillery park, which is going to be able to shell the incoming Germans. Here in the middle, we have the 28th Maori Regiment. They're kind of just protecting this road that links Canea and the Maleme airfield. Down here we have some Greek regiments, a New Zealand Division cavalry detachment, and then this is the 10th New Zealand Brigade, and it's a lot of I would think like rear units like the Petrol Regiment or Petrol Company, sorry, and the Division Supply Company. So they're not really going to be doing any offensive operations. And then we have some more Greek units, a couple of detachments from the 3rd Hussars, and another artillery park. And then here is the town of Canea. This kind of goes off to the next map over, if you connect them for the big campaign, it goes over to the next map and has the port and everything. And then we have the Royal, I have to look this up, the Royal Paravolians, which is a British composite battalion, and a Royal Marine Company. Coming in from the German side, the Luftland Sturm Regiment is going to be led by General Major Meindl, and Fallschirmjäger Regiment 3 is going to be led by Oberst Heydrich. The Siebte Fliegerdivision is led by Generalleutnant Wilhelm Sussman. 2nd New Zealand Division is going to be led by Brigadier General Edward Puttick. And Cree Force, which only has the really small representation, is led by Major General Bernard Freyberg. So yeah, that's kind of the cast of characters and how it's all set up. To give you a preview, like I said, the Luftland Sturm Regiment is going to be landing around the Maleme airfield. The Fallschirmjäger Regiment is going to be landing around here, around the prison. And then their objectives are to control 2 hexes of the Maleme airfield to allow for the air landing reinforcements to come in for the Geburtsjäger Division that's, waiting to get to land basically, but they don't get to land until the 21st of May anyway, so there's time. Or they have to exit units off the east map, but as you can see, exiting units is going to be pretty difficult, and I don't really like exit unit objectives anyway. So we're basically going to be focusing mainly on trying to capture the Maleme airfield and keeping these units busy so that they can't help in a counterattack against the airfield. Alright, so let's begin the invasion. Before the invasion, the Germans get 4 airstrikes, and so we're going to try to suppress the anti-aircraft batteries. So we'll do 2 airstrikes on this heavy AA battery on the hill. We really don't want that one projecting for a 4-range fire zone, because you'll see on the airdrop glider landing table, an AA unit projecting a fire zone on DZ or LZ adds a +1 in addition to the being an allied unit projecting FC on a DZ or LZ. So we definitely don't want that. Let's try to suppress it with 2, and then we'll try to suppress this AA unit on the airfield. Yeah, let's try 1 on this MG unit. So the aircraft don't get affected by negative modifiers, and I'll show you this table just the first time, because if I keep showing you every time, this video will be 2 hours of me trying to add stuff up and do cross-referencing. So usually I think I'll just show you the result maybe a dramatic die roll if necessary. We'll see. But anyway, for the aircraft, we're at a 3 direct attack rating, and then the AA unit has a +1 defense rating. And so going down the modifier list, the only one that is taken into account for this attack is the defense rating of +1. So we need a 4 or below to get a hit, and a 0. So the white direct attack color, see there's purple, there's blue, there's different colors. So the white is dual purpose, and a 0 is a 1-step loss. And that is absolutely devastating for the Kiwis, because this is a 0-step unit, which means as soon as it takes a hit, it's destroyed. That's a bad start for the Kiwis. Now this aircraft is still going to be making an attack on that hex, but now we're just going to be going after A company. And there's no positive defense modifier for A company, so it's just a 3 or below. A 9 is an automatic miss. And now this Luftwaffe airstrike on the New Zealand MG company, again, no modifier, so it's just a 3. 5 misses. And now this airstrike on the AA company up there on the airfield, it's a +1 for the defense rating, so we're at a 4. And a 0, that's another automatic step loss. And this AA company is a 1-step unit, so that's destroyed as well. This is so much more, this is so much different than my first playthrough. My first playthrough, I don't think I got a single hit on any Luftwaffe air attack. So this is going to be much easier for the Luftlandesturmregiment to get into Malmö airfield, I think, but we'll see. Now let's get into the airdrops. So drop 1 is at 0700 hours with the Luftlandesturmregiment, and the first stick is going to be coming in via gliders, which, you know, poor guys. And we have a company of Fallschirmjägers and a heavy weapons company of Fallschirmjägers. And they're going to be coming in on this hex, which is an orchard hex, and they're in the fire zone of Detachment D of the 7th Royal Tank Regiment's Matildas. And thank goodness, this is why it's a good thing that the Germans took care of that anti-aircraft battery, because as you can see, it has a fire zone into this hex. And they already have an uphill battle because they have an allied unit projecting a fire zone on a DZ, and they're landing in an orchard hex, which is +2 for gliders. So this roll is a +3 overall. So first, the Fallschirmjäger company. So 6 + 3 is 9. A 9 is a step loss for gliders. So he gets a step loss and a glider landing marker, which will take an action to remove later, but it represents the Germans being unprepared once they do land. Now a +3 for the heavy weapons company is a 7, and a 7 is no effect. So they just get a glider landing marker as well. So 1 step loss for the Fallschirmjägers in their glider landings. The next stick that is landing is Generalmajor Meindl himself. He's coming in up here, and he's coming in with 3 companies of Fallschirmjägers and 1 company of Fallschirmjäger heavy weapons. And as you can see, one of these units is already down to 1 step. I guess their transports got hit by the AA before we took them out or something. So I'll go ahead and roll everybody, but basically because they're landing in a village hex and they're coming in by parachutes, they only get the +1, and there's no enemy fire zone. So I'll go roll through everybody and show you how that looks at the end. So the heavy weapons company lost a step, and they got an extra para drop marker. Everybody else came in safely. Stick 3 also arrives by parachute, and we have a couple of companies, 3 companies of Fallschirmjägers and a heavy weapons Fallschirmjäger company. And as you can see, these poor bastards kind of got dropped right in the thick of the hornet's nest. So I don't expect them to really have many steps left over, if any, once we go through the rolls. All right, this is looking pretty lovely for the Germans, not gonna lie. So these three companies passed their tests. They're with no effect, so they just get the power drop markers. This company, though, did get a step loss and an extra power drop marker. So overall, though, that's pretty good for the Germans. The Kiwis are going to have their hands full, I think, trying to get through them to get to the airfield. Stick 4 is a lot of sort of heavy weapons. So we have a heavy mortar company, an AT company, a flak company, another flak company, and a Fallschirmjäger artillery company. So they come in here. So I'll go ahead and do them and show you how they land. So the heavy weapons companies all came in fine with no step losses, just the power drop markers. Stick 5 comes in here, and that's a Fallschirmjäger Pioneer company. And we can roll that real quick with no modifiers. 5 is fine. So that's the Luftland Sturmregiment completed. Their drops are completed now, and you'll see they got really lucky not losing any of these units, because they're gonna really, they can get an improved position and just kind of hang out and stay put. The Kiwis are gonna have to attack them quickly while they still have the power drop markers on. The 2nd New Zealand Division doesn't get an activation on the first turn. Their chit isn't in the chit cup. And this game works on a chit pool system, so you activate based on who you pull, which I like more than the I go, you go system. It's easier to play by yourself because you don't know who you're going to be playing next or what formation is going to be activating next. The Kiwis don't get an activation this turn. They kind of have to sit put, let the Germans act, and then the Germans have the initiative. They kind of caught them off on their back foot. So now we head back to the east, and let's land the Fallschirmjäger Regiment. So for Fallschirmjäger Regiment Dry, we have stick 6. All of their sticks arrive via parachute. Their first stick arrives here. So this drop was 3 Fallschirmjäger companies and a heavy weapons company. 3 of them got through with no effect other than their power drop marker. One of them, though, one company did lose a step and has a double power drop marker. The next stick is going to be landing within 1 hex of here, and it's just Fallschirmjäger companies, recoilless rifle company, and an AT company, which, there it is. So the AT company just got a double power drop marker. Everybody else landed with just their power drop markers. Stick 8 is Oberst Heydrich with a Fallschirmjäger company coming in on an orchard hex, but not in anybody's line of fire that I can tell. So he just gets a +1. An 8 to a 9 is a double power drop marker. Stick 9 are a bunch of Fallschirmjäger companies and their heavy weapons company, and they kind of get dropped all up in here, and they might be taking casualties, hopefully for the Kiwis' sake. So you can see how scattered they were. These guys in particular kind of just ended right up in the middle of everything, the 1 hex that was open. So I'll go ahead and roll and show you the fate of these guys. So the 9th company that dropped right in the middle of everybody, they predictably got eliminated. This company up here lost a step, got the double power drop marker, and then the other 2 companies just got a power drop marker. Stick 10 is a Fallschirmjäger flak company, and they land in this village of Platanos. We'll see if they can get it. So that's +1 for the village, and 1, 2, 3 allied units that throw a fire zone in there, so +4. The 10 is a step loss and a power marker. So there's its step loss counter. And you'll see on the movement part, this number over here, in this case it's a 4, But here, the star means that it can only move by prolonge, which means, just pushing the thing by hand. Otherwise, it has to flip over, and it has organic transports attached to it, in this case, some motorcycles. But all that will prompt opportunity fires. And to move by prolonge requires a true quality check, and if you fail, you get a cohesion hit. So I think maybe if you pass 2, you get, I don't know. But either way, moving that's going to be incredibly difficult. And it gets its double power drop marker. So that's not where you want to be if you're a flat company. And the last stick, probably my favorite just because I'm weird, are the Fallschirmjäger Pioneers. And it's 4 companies. Well, 3 companies of Pioneers and 1 MG company. And they get dropped in this area. So the Greek regiment didn't really protest the Pioneers landing. This company got a double power drop marker, but everybody else landed with no problem. So this is how the board looks at the end of the drops. We could, I think, technically use some command points as a second action for units in command to pull off some of the power drop markers. But since the 2nd New Zealand Division doesn't get an activation, and both of these regiments have formation chits in the cup, I think we're going to hold off on it because we only start with 5 command points. Anyway, that's the end of the air landing, the invasion of Crete. Now the real meat of the stuff gets on. So we pull our next chit. What's it going to be? It is, there it is. The Luftland Sturmregiment gets activated. So here we are with the Luftland Sturmregiment, and now all the division is activated, or the regiment is activated, and first thing we got to do before we can do anything else is pull the power drop markers. It requires 1 action to do it. For example, these double power drop markers get flipped to their single side, and all the other power drop markers get removed. So as you can see, there's still a couple power drop markers on there. That's definitely going to be the focus of Kiwi's counterattacks. And now we can spend command points to have in-command units perform a second activation. I'm really tempted to put these companies into column and kind of get them over there. Okay, now we're going to spend 2 command points. So the Siebte Fliegerdivision is down to 3 command points. We're going to move 2 units with our second activation. We're going to move the 5th company 2 hexes because it's, let me show you the terrain chart. It's not what you'd expect. So in regular movement, legs move 2. It takes 2 movement points to move and clear and all the rest of them. If they were in column, it'd only take 1, and that's when you get your half bonus for being on a road. So normally your leg units are just moving 2 hexes in a regular movement. So it's going to move 2 up to here, and then General Major Meindl is going to move 1, 2 with them. And yeah, so they're going to be the spearhead up to the Maleme airfield, and hopefully that will kind of put us within range, because we don't want to be caught out in column in this fire area, because I assume the Kiwis are going to be reinforcing it. They have this machine gun company which has a good field of fire over the plains here, and they can spot us for their artillery parks. So we don't want to be in column and take any more negative modifiers than we have to, I don't think. So that's the Luftland Regiment turn complete. Now let's pull another chit. Next chit is the 3rd Fallschirmjäger Regiment. So it's going to be the same story for the Fallschirmjägers. They're just going to pull their power drop markers, flip the double power drop markers as best they can, and then not going to do any second activations because we don't have the command points for it. So this might not look too bad for the Germans, and to be honest, it really isn't compared to some of the other scenarios where they drop all over the place, like the Heraklion scenario. They kind of get dropped right on the Kiwis, or no, I think that's actually the Australians. They get dropped right on the Australians, and they have these paradrop markers, and the Australians' activation chits are in the cup from the beginning, so it's possible to draw the Australians before you draw the Germans, and they'll still have all their paradrop markers on, and it just gets really bloody. So I like this scenario because this at least gets the Germans on the ground, and it's a little bit more balanced, I think, because the Kiwis still have an overwhelming force. They just have to kind of get moving, and then they can start isolating and destroying these German units. Whereas the Germans can really start setting up a sort of defensive cauldron in the Prison Valley here. And usually I have the pioneers push this way up towards the coast to cut off the east-west reinforcements. So yeah, that's the Germans. They don't have any other formation chits in the cup, so we just have 3 more chits to go. Next chit is the Allied Direct Command chit. So this one allows you to activate an in-command non-independent unit for 1 command point to do 1 activation. And I think here is, see, this is the only chance the Kiwis had of attacking the Germans while they still had all their like double paradrop markers on them. And so I think we're going to have to take advantage of this because we don't know when the Kiwis are going to get their activation chit next turn. So we have 6 command points, which theoretically means we could activate 6 units to do attacks. So we're coming up here for our attack, spending 1 command point to attack with D Company of the 18th Battalion onto the 10th Company of the Fallschirmjägers. And first thing we got to do is try a company bonus. So we have to pass a troop quality check. D Company has a troop quality of 5, and they're in improved positions for a +1. So we need a roll of a 6 or below, a 3. So we get our troop quality or our company bonus for a +2. There's no train. The defenders have a -1 defense modifier, but then that gets modified by the +2 paradrop marker. So we're at a 6, 5, 6, 7, which means 7 or below, and we get some sort of hit on the Fallschirmjägers. A 3. So the Kiwis have the light mortars, the purple, and if we look at the unarmored target, a 3 is a suppression question mark, which means the Fallschirmjägers have to pass a troop quality check. They're a troop quality of 6, so 6 or below. A 3 means it has no effect on them. That's the first attack done. For our second attack, we're going to spend another command point, so we're down to 4, and have C Company attack this Flak Company. The Flak Company has a step loss, which means its troop quality goes down to a 4 in case that comes into play later, but it doesn't affect its defense rating. And it is in a town, so as you can see, a town as a -2 fire modifier. So first let's check for our company bonus. A 0 definitely gives us the company bonus, so we're at a 6. -2 for the town is back down to 4, but then the Flak Company the Flak Company has a defense bonus of +1, +2 for the paradrop marker, so we're back up to a 7. Oof, an 8 has absolutely no effect. This just doesn't look like the Kiwi scenario, does it? Sorry, my cat tried to move around, play general, so some of these are got a little knocked off their hexes. With 4 command points, we're going to have A Company, well, we're spending 1 command point, I should say, so we're down to 3 command points. We're going to have A Company attack this heavy weapons company here. They're in terrain for -1, but their defense rating is a +1, so that cancels out. Now let's check our company bonus. A 6 passes because their true quality is 6 and they're in improved positions, so we get a +2, so a 7, and then these bonuses cancel out, so we just need a 7 or below to get a hit. A 1 with light mortars is a suppression check. Their true quality is only a 4. A 6 fails, so they get a suppression. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to convert that into a cohesion hit so that we can retain our ability to fire. And so we need to roll a 4 or below. 9, definitely a failure. And we're suppressed. It's not ideal, but we're going to spend another command point down to 2 to have the New Zealand Field Engineers attack the 10th Fallschirmjäger Company over here. Or sorry, they're the Luftlandesturm Regiment. And they're in terrain for -1. They have a -2 for their defense, +2 for the power drop marker, so that cancels out. So we're at a 3 still. Now let's try that company bonus. A 3 is below a 4, so they get +2 for the company bonus. So it's a 5 or below to get a hit on the Fallschirmjägers. Can the engineers be heroes? A 5, that does it. Well, that's gonna hurt. A 5 on the small arms table is a cohesion hit. So these Luftlandesturm soldiers, Schützen, I don't know if they're Fallschirmjägers actually. I think they must be Fallschirmjägers. Got a cohesion hit, and they had the power drop marker. So I think that's going to be it for direct commands, because we want to have some commands in the bag in our back pocket. The next chit is a German random event. These are always fun. So we have another cup of German random events, and it is partisan attack. And you see a partisan attack means the allied player may attack any German unit within 2 hexes of a village, town, or city hex with a 2 pink FP attack. So easy enough. We're here in Pyrgos. Outside of it is the 9th Fallschirmjäger Company of the 3rd Battalion. And we're going to do the Greeks are getting brave and going to do a partisan attack on the Germans as they just land. So we're doing a pink 2 firepower attack, no modifiers according to the rules. So we need a 2 or below. A 5 misses, so the partisans kind of shoot off some rounds at the Germans, but then they run back to their homes in Pyrgos. So the next chit is the last chit of the turn, and it is the Allied random event. And from the Allied random event cup, we pull tank breakdown. So for a tank breakdown, the German player picks 1 Allied armor unit, the unit becomes suppressed. And that's going to be easy. We're going to put it on Detachment D of the 7th Royal Tank Regiment out here around the Maleme airfield. So that unit can't move and it can't fire until it gets rallied by its general on an activation. And the last chit in the cup is the German direct activation chit, the Direkten Befehl. And that becomes the first chit that's played at the start of the next turn. So here's the situation at the end of turn 1, the 0700 hour turn. We don't have any cleanup to do because there's no barrage markers, the artillery parks didn't fire. At this point we would move on to turn 2, but I just want to take a break because I'll probably stop the video here and show you how our invasion is going, how our defense is going. Luckily I'm winning both. Well, I'm winning depending on which side I feel like I'm on. Right now, as the Kiwi player, I am a little worried because the Germans did not get as many losses as I was hoping during their drop. and there's a couple of key units. There's now no unit protecting Maleme Airfield hex up there. We're going to have to rush somebody up there probably. I don't know who, because this unit, if it goes, this company, I mean, if it goes, kind of runs up there, it's in the fire zone of a flak unit, an anti-tank gun, and they're just going to get hosed, I'm afraid. So we have to try coming around the backside of this hill, and I was going to plan on using the Royal Tank Regiment detachment, the Matildas, to get up there. But this company now is a thorn in our side because it has its fire zone all around there, blocking reinforcements. So the 5th New Zealand Brigade might just have to consolidate, mop up some of these units in the back, bring in the Maoris, and try for a counterattack, and hope that the other brigades over here in the east can either contain or counterattack, maybe use the Greeks to contain the Fallschirmjägers, and get some units across to give them back up with the 5th New Zealand Brigade over there for their counterattack onto the airfield, which looks like it might be necessary. Luckily, we do have some really heavy artillery that we can bring down on the attacking Germans, make it hard for them to move, but it all comes down to which chit gets pulled first, who gets activated first. But yeah, that's all for the next turn. For now though, I'm going to call this video to a close. Thank you for invading and defending Crete with me, and I'll see you back on the battlefield in the next video.